Call today's meeting March 16th, 2026, otherwise known as Evacuation Day Eve or the Irish High Holidays Eve. At 7 p.m. the Select Board meeting to order. And we will start the meeting by standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And ask for a moment of silence. Okay, and next I will ask if there are any announcements.
There are.
I'll bet there.
This meeting is being recorded by the recording clerk for the purpose of taking minutes. Is there anyone else present who wishes to record the meeting? Seeing none, to the attendees of the meeting, a sign-in sheet is being circulated. The board asks you please sign in to indicate your attendance at today's meeting. The select board meeting can be viewed by going into the cable videos icon on the homepage of the town's website. And on Monday, April 6th, the board will hold a meeting at 7 p.m. and the next select board work session will be on Wednesday, March 18th at 6 p.m. Please check the meeting postings on the town website for information to either join via Zoom.
Just happened like 30 minutes ago, Bob.
Or the location of that particular meeting or work session.
Dissonance.
Thank you very much.
We're talking about a meeting on the 18th is what you're saying.
And we're off.
It's what time?
6 p.m.
So if somebody already made plans for this Wednesday?
And it's gonna be in
Very
person?
similar. Yes.
You said in person.
Yes, in person.
I gotta
Yep.
tell you.
The lack of respect for our
I
social
know who
calendar.
set it up too, and that's why I'm looking at
And
you.
then and then we jump all the way
You
to
and he
April
set it
6th.
up, I know that.
I did throw you both under the bus.
Then we
Okay.
go from the
She
18th of
threw
March
you
to
under
the
the bus.
6th of April, is that right?
Work session purposes?
It's all work. So it's for the announcements. I just do the first meeting and then the first work session. The next 3 weeks that we are meeting, it's all work sessions. So we're going to be meeting on the 23rd and the 30th, both of which are work sessions. And the 23rd's at 6.
You think that'll all be in person?
Yes.
So
I'll send an email.
I got a 23rd at 7 and a 30th at 6.
So we switched the 23rd to 6 p.m. though.
Okay.
Do you want me to send out an email to everyone?
Evidently.
I'll send out an email to everyone with all the changes for the next 2 weeks.
And as far as I know, it was already on my calendar, so unless Alice and Sam are communicating, which maybe there's a precedent for that.
There is.
Was already on my meeting. Okay. So I'll ask if there are any citizen questions and comments about anything not related to items on the agenda. Hearing none. There are no minutes to review, so we can launch straight into new business, which starts with
What's the name for the minutes? Bob was asking. Sorry.
for the liquor license approval at Evermore. And I'll ask probably Ms. Calderon to lead us in this one unless Kevin is prepared to do so.
Do you wanna go?
It doesn't matter. I can go. So ABCC the commission has approved the application that the select board has reviewed and approved. Only took since September, I will believe, to have this through. ABCC did ask for 2 changes that the select board voted on a few months ago, which was to include the basement and then the 3rd floor of the mansion for storage purposes. So the select board's already approved that on the application revision. And then to specifically call out the fire pits, but that was in the original application as well. So in front of you is the draft of the actual pouring license for the select board to approve. The only changes from the original time you saw this was 3-story main estate house with a basement. And then I did specifically call out the fire pits.
What was that about the attic or the 3rd floor?
The 3rd floor are office spaces, so they're not gonna typically be serving alcohol there, but ABCC still does want that space licensed in case there's storing alcohol up there.
And that's the
So-
third floor of the mansion.
So it's all office space, but they're like, just in case someone's storing alcohol, or if you have a or if you have a couple that signed a lot of money away, you might have a celebratory glass of champagne upstairs. So just for
Okay.
keeping everything a little bit easier.
Either that or the president of the.
I like that you've imagined enough to why somebody might drink in their office. So.
You sign a lot of money away when you get married.
Celebratory glass of champagne in their office.
The least they can do for a couple.
Or depression because they're working in their office.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that's where Marshall was going.
Yeah.
No, I was
Well,
going
having
with,
worked some of the jobs I've worked.
how much money did I just give you? I would like a glass of champagne.
The hours have not changed.
No.
Okay.
So really this is, I know I'm wrong, but I feel like we've approved this thing
4 times.
more than once. So with that, I'm going to move to approve the request from Michael Gallant of Topsfield Functions LLC DBA The Evermore at Pierce Farm Estate for an all-alcohol beverage license for 116 Boston Street, Topsfield 01983 for 2026 and to be eligible for annual review and renewal.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion?
Done deal.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? It passes. All right, now we go on to the water department. Speaking of things I feel like we've talked about a lot already.
We have.
Well, there were some changes though in the water department.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Can hear about them.
I know it's going to be exciting.
Where are we going? Who's talking first?
So on Thursday's work session, we approved the omnibus for the general funds, which was some really great work that this board did, and thank you to the team. In addition to that, we reviewed, but we haven't formally voted our enterprise fund associated with our water department. And so, Greg Crom, our water superintendent's here tonight, to provide any further insight on the budget, or any modifications, if any, and to answer any other questions from the board. The hope is the board's comfortable enough, because we reviewed it, as said earlier, inferred earlier many times, that the board would be prepared to vote a positive action tonight.
Am I wrong in saying that there's some significant changes?
There are significant changes from the last time we discussed it
That's what I
when
thought.
all of you were here, but I think the last time I was here, Bob, I think you were traveling, so this is the first time you're probably seeing this version of it.
Could be.
What significant changes?
It had to do with the debt schedule, because we had talked about some of the capital, like PFAS and the pressure zones, so those got deferred.
Yep, yeah, okay.
So I reduced a lot of the debt expenses as a result of that.
Can I ask a question about this?
Sure.
So it says on the line that is 59,100, debt principal. So we've added 178,000 of cost, which means we're paying down 810,000 of principal instead of paying down 632. Is that what that means?
Yes, and that's with anticipation that we're going to go out to permanent bond and make those types of payments for the water main job and for the tank.
Okay, so does that take it to zero to be replaced by another bond?
I think that's why the short-term, had been doing some short-term borrowing to carry those expenses, so that's being reduced slightly.
Right, so the ban, we're gonna,
So the band's gonna go away, and we have the option of making principal payments for the new jobs.
but the ban interest, we're paying less interest in this new budget than we had budgeted 2 budget cycles ago. We're paying $90,000 less interest than we did before, so that would seem to suggest the ban interest is less and the ban borrowing is less. Is that because it's being,
I think it's
we're paying
because
it off with a
it's-
long-term bond earlier than we thought?
At some point, it's gonna transition from a band to a long-term bond next year, so, when that happens, we'll have to pay a partial year of the ban, and we have the option of paying the first year of the bond payments as well.
But this says we're paying less ban interest than we had previously planned,
Correct.
which
Because
means
we're
we're
not-
probably paying off the ban earlier, so there's less interest, is that the idea?
at some point during the year, the ban will go away.
Okay. Earlier than we previously planned, and we're paying off the long bonds on the books already earlier than we thought, or in greater amount than we thought. But we're gonna issue a new bond that's gonna pay for all those repayments. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Which is not on, the new bond is not on here yet.
I think that's the increase. Basically, the last year's a 632 is gonna go down, but the interest is gonna go down slightly. But then you have to add in the 178 in the principal, and the essentially 150 in the interest, would be the new bonds we're gonna be taking out for the water main work and for the tank.
Yeah, but a new bond would be a source of money, so that would be a negative. This is an these are expenditures of money, these first two lines.
But we borrowed the money before the job was done, and all we were doing was making short-term interest payments. And at some point next year, the short-term bond is gonna be turned into a permanent bond where we have to start making payments, paying it back.
Okay, but there's no payments of, or is the long-term bond payments, the new payments on the long-term bond, is that embedded in the 178, for example?
Yes.
Yes, and the interest on the 148. So basically, when we switch from the band, the short-term bridge that we're using, that's being reduced by 90, because we have a sense in the fall that that's when that's coming off, so we could reduce that from what we had from last year. And then the debt principal and interest increases are associated with then that transition. So that's the net that's our cost, and that's where we made those adjustments accordingly.
Can I just, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and this is both for Lockwood Lane and the water tank.
Those are the two big.
Yeah.
It's still labeled 0204, so this is still the same version that we looked at last time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Bob wasn't here during that.
No, I know. I meant the rest.
Nothing has changed since that time. There was some conversations around unanticipated emergency, because if you look back to 25, we were holding 140, and then we dropped that to 90 in the original appropriation when we anticipated enterprise reserve fund going up, and then with the reduction of the enterprise reserve fund, which is related to the timing on the PFAS plant. That was the conversation we had, pushing that out after our conversation, that reduced. We did talk about having a additional amount added back on the 90,000, but we didn't make that update in this version that you're looking at tonight, which keeps the rate down.
I think this is good, in that, in order to prevent the water customers for having a huge increase as a result of the debt issuance and the new debt service, we reduced the enterprise reserve fund to a more normal level, and that kind of offsets and cushions the impact of this higher debt service on the water ratepayers. So I think that's good.
Well, in all fairness, I'd like to say that he wasn't here at the last meeting when we talked about it. And I think it's fair that he has a chance to voice his opinion about this.
Well, thank you, Boyd.
I always welcome his opinion.
And can you just remind me, this is what led
I would do the
an
same.
anticipated increase of like 1.1% or something
I think
in the water rate?
it's more than likely it'll probably be 1% or less, maybe even be
Yeah.
0% increase in rates this year with this budget.
Celebrate that.
Yeah, I know this is more Morgan's area than yours, perhaps, to some extent, but what's the gross principal of the new bond that we're issuing?
The tank is $3.5 million, and I think the bond for Lockwood Lane was the work itself for the water main was like 1.8, and I think we have another $200,000 worth of road work to do there. So that will likely be another $2 million.
So 5 million, talking to our financial advisors, is sort of a significant threshold when you go out for debt. You do see that's certain banks, more banks will be interested at that 5 million or greater,
Get a
and
better
as
rate of
such,
the
you have a
higher
better
number.
aggressive,
Yeah.
more rates to look at, and I know there's more people coming in, so you get a better, more aggressive rate.
Okay.
Is Lockwood Lane ever gonna go away? We've been talking about this, and it's a huge number.
It is, but I think, this spring we'll do the final mill and pave, and then hopefully
Not hear about it again?
that's it. I ran into a few people who live down there, and they thanked me for not having to
Thank
come
you,
see them this
yeah,
winter.
of course.
Like in
Well,
past years.
But then on to the next one.
Yes,
Yeah, and there'll be another one, yeah.
it's always more.
Part of our job.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay, any motions or votes? I'll vote to approve the FY 2027 water enterprise budget as presented.
Second.
Any other questions or discussion?
Does this cover water?
Drinking water,
Yeah, okay.
not other forms.
Just wanted to make sure.
But only the wet kind.
Yes, yeah, we don't cover ice.
All right, all those in favor?
Better not.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, this leads us into
Have fun going back to the north end.
No traffic.
Yeah,
the crux of the evening.
here we go. This is what it's all about.
The
Well, we
warrant.
knocked out the first two in an average of 8 minutes each, so.
That's good.
Mine took like 2 minutes. It was Greg that was the holdup.
So over to Kevin.
Mr. Chairman, Select Board, so I'm just I sent an email out yesterday to the board, sort of lining up our goals for today when it comes to the budget and warrant. Obviously, we're in the thick of it, even if it's a work session or a regular meeting, there's plenty to cover. We had a great meeting Thursday, appreciate everyone's time, it was a long meeting, but we accomplished quite a bit, and tonight, and then again on Wednesday's work session, hopefully we'll be able to continue that. Goals for tonight is to look at some of the updated language on version 7.01 of the warrant. Specifically, review 5, 6, 16, 19, 21, 28, and 38. Those were not voted on Thursday, but which the language has been updated or solidified. Also, while we're looking at that, we can discuss, if we so choose, questions 1 and 2 on the ballot. Those have been updated as well.
Now, you said that kind of fast. We'll update what?
The ballot questions have been updated at the back of
Oh,
the
okay,
warrant as
got it.
well.
Yep,
Question
yep,
1 and
got
2. We're waiting for question 3 language
Ballot
from
questions on the warrant.
the ballot question for Masco's debt exclusion. That will be from Masco. The same with that article, which we're waiting for. We have language that we could start looking at for Article 40. That is a bylaw change for the e-bikes. It's quite lengthy and there's a lot there, and it is late in our process, so I recognize that. We had to wait for KP to provide that language, but it
Where
is
did that
available.
come from, KP?
KP law.
Can I just pause you there for, my question's gonna be quicker than whatever you have. Which of these 8 files am I opening up to look at right now?
7.01.
7.01.
So 7.01
That's where we're gonna
is,
start.
not on board docs, it's in the email, right?
No, it's,
No, it's right here.
Both.
I just
I
opened
got
it up.
6.
The bottom list.
Keep going down.
Bottom of the list.
And Bob learns about the scroll bar.
There it is. Okay. Let's sit corrected.
So,
Is that where we're going now?
Article 40, just doing an overview, then we'll tag them each one.
Yep.
But the Article 40, like I said, there's a lot there. Hope you've had a chance to look at it. I know I've talked to a couple members who have, and that's got some feedback, which I appreciate. And then articles, we're 33, 34, 35, 36. Those are the planning articles. We are waiting for those, so there's no discussion quite yet on that. But as soon as we have those, we'll insert them into the.
Can I just ask a clarifying question for somebody who may have come up to us 2 minutes before the meeting and claims that they have been sent to us already?
I'm unaware. I don't know who
So
sent
one
them
little
to me.
birdie is saying that little birdie who has them.
They haven't had a public hearing on it yet. So we don't have them until they have the public hearing and they vote on them.
Do we unofficially have them? They haven't been. No, we don't even
The
have.
last one that I've received.
Okay.
That's like a tautology.
we're playing, he said, she said,
I mean,
I don't know.
I just don't have them, and nor would I until I have a final voted version. Insert anything, and they haven't. We know they haven't had a public hearing.
So whether we've received a preliminary unvoted copy or not, we can't really talk about it at a public meeting until they vote on it, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
I'm just trying to figure out where the disconnect is when I'm hearing 2-3 different messages, right? So it's fine. We don't have them. It's not on this end.
sorry for any miscommunication you received.
Not from you.
Next meeting.
And then Article 39 language. I received that language at 4:30 this afternoon, so that is ready.
We're not gonna start at the top and go through this, we're gonna start.
I'm just going through.
We're doing
those.
overview right now, right?
Yeah.
And
We're
then,
not gonna talk about the ones we voted.
No,
Well, no, but.
wait, it is your right to reopen it, but it is our right to give you dirty looks if you do so.
and we just voted on Thursday,
you'll
so
get 'em.
hopefully there's no one.
Dirty looks are the least
More
of
so the
the
weekend.
animosity I've received in my day.
And then Article 45 is the language from Masco, which again, we are waiting for Masco language to insert. That's for the debt exclusion. So
If they don't get it to us, does that mean they don't get a debt exclusion?
That means they don't get it.
we're probably going to get it the week we go to print.
yeah.
No, that means Middleton and Boxford.
The week before you go
Think
to
of
the
those
printer.
as citizens petitions. It is what it is. It has to go on the warrant by the district agreement, as I understand it. And it is whatever they send us is the language we have to use without any grammatical changes or any explanation. What they send is what we provide.
Thank you.
Welcome. And then if time permits and there's interest, we can talk very high level about the special town meeting and Article 3 and Attachment A. We do have the work session on Wednesday where I anticipate we'll dig a little deeper into the last two at that meeting on Wednesday. So with that said,
Can I ask one other question?
yes, sir.
23rd. We did vote it or we didn't? My recollection is not.
Notes.
I wrote stuff down, but I might have made a mistake.
No, we confirmed
we
everything
did.
together.
I know we did. And then
March 12th.
but I don't have, I have 23 with an X next to it.
There was some talk about changing the
Just the
verbiage.
title?
We voted that
Title or
with the
something.
Yeah, we
changes as
revised the
presented.
title.
No, Article 23, there were proposed edits that need to be incorporated, moving along, yeah.
Yeah, I said, I
So
had
that
to
wasn't-
wait for KH.
So this is done.
notes.
So the version has what you need. So if you want, Mr. Chairman, if we could maybe skip 5 and 6, go to 16, 19, 21, 23, 28, 38, get those taken care of with a vote if we are ready to do it so
Low
tonight.
hanging fruit first.
Move back to the 2 school articles and then we could talk about 40 and then see where we're at that
But
point.
you, okay.
So where are you gonna
So
start?
if you would like, if I ask everyone to turn to Article 16.
But didn't you previously said that the 3, 4, and 5, we didn't have any new language?
church. If you could turn to Psalm 15, Mother of our Lord.
Okay. I did have a couple edits in here. They're not huge.
Which one did we go to, sorry?
21st is what I heard.
16.
Oh, 16,
Why
sorry.
I'm asking?
15.
I heard 21st.
I heard 16.
Marshall, stop it.
What were we waiting for on 16?
So I had received language updates from Chief Hovey, which are reflective in the final language. Basically, we took out the third floor components of the article. Numbers haven't changed. The motion, we took out the third floor. That was the motion itself did not change. It was just in the descriptive.
Now, where are you now? You lost me. Where are you?
Article 16.
16.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion that we vote to accept Article 16 as presented in version 7.01.
But nobody seconded it yet, though.
We didn't second 15?
16,
You might want to add with grammatical changes.
with minor grammatical change or spelling changes if necessary.
I'll second that.
I have a question moving forward now. Can we just say, motion to accept article blank with edits as needed, as necessary?
Well, they need to be non-substantial edits.
Fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Motion to accept article blank with non-substantial edits.
What did I say? Oh, I said as
You said
presented in
that.
version
No, you said-
7.01?
You seconded it, so you have to vote it.
I seconded it, yeah.
The motion that's on the floor.
We can do it going forward, it's
Yeah.
fine. So the only thing was, there's 2 spaces between equipment and the last, the italicized part. That's inconsequential. Does not change. Were there any other edits or changes? Okay,
Interesting.
so all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Is okay.
Alright, if you could go to 19, please, next page.
Some of us are on computers, Ken.
So no. No changes on this one.
You said no changes?
We confirmed the dollar amount. I wanted to make sure Chief was comfortable with the 55.
55?
Can we take out the word critical
Where is the word critical?
in the first
Storage building for
sentence
critical
of
fire
the?
department. I mean, that's grammatical minor. That's not substantial.
No, it's semi-substantial.
I would suggest taking that out, and then again, there's two spaces between.
Wait, I want to go back to critical for a second.
First line of the
Italicized.
italicized.
Yeah, no, I know where it is. Are you suggesting that that equipment is not critical equipment?
I think it's an unnecessary word, and I'd rather not make the distinction. I imagine everything the chief has is critical, otherwise the town people wouldn't have paid for it.
Everything everybody has.
I mean, I'm not going to argue over a single word, but I don't know why we're taking it out.
But yet you are.
I'm done. I have made my point. I don't know why the need to take it out. But
I kind of agree with that.
And I do too.
I don't. I think it's superfluous. It suggests that there's some equipment more valuable than others, and only the valuable.
I think
few
there
are.
is. I'm pretty sure, for instance, a fire truck is more valuable than, I don't know, a generator.
So somebody
fire
pointed
truck is
out
not
this
in the storage
training
building, is it?
equipment is in there.
What's that?
Someone pointed out, is training equipment really critical?
I don't know. Do you want to train your firefighters?
And the fire truck is not in the storage building, yet it's critical.
So if we take this word out, we avoid the conversation entirely.
All right. I mean, I don't know who's having this conversation. Other than
Kevin,
you,
where
but-
did the word come from? Did this italicized come from you guys or from Jen Brown?
I think I wrote it and she approved it. Maybe with some edits along the way. I don't recollect. It was much earlier in the process that they.
I mean, ultimately, nobody's going to vote for it or not with this word in there. So I guess I go back to not caring, but I just don't know why you're making a deal out of
You
it.
can always add non-critical and critical.
Yeah.
If you wrote,
I'm
she
comfortable
approved
taking
it,
the
I'm
word
okay
critical
with it.
out to move the question.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
and
fine.
then the only other.
Even though we
changes-
had them 3-2, I'm going to go ahead and let
Take it out.
The only other
Easy
change
give.
was, in the last two sentences, again, there's two spaces between
This
fire
means that
station
in some
and this.
I
future
think
article, they have to give
excessive
something to me.
spaces are a
So
non-substantial editing.
Yeah, totally agree. Both of those, in my opinion,
So,
are.
sorry, typically when I'm writing sentences after the period into a new sentence, I do double space.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're not supposed to do
So
that.
I learned that this makes you old.
you are old.
I'm a boomer, at heart.
No,
I don't
period.
know if we'll let you in, by the way.
I spent years doing the same thing, and finally,
That time is over.
Who's messing
it's
with the
left
rules?
over from typewriters. It literally is
Let's
left
go
over
back.
from typewriters.
So I'm pretty sure the entire document has double spaces.
Yes, and that was one of the comments that I read to you in
Can
an
we do
email
it
that you probably haven't.
next
been
year?
able to.
Or you want this year?
It's so easy. Control H. Tell me you know what Control H is.
What is
I'll
it?
tell
I
you.
don't know control H.
Find and replace.
You're gonna go through boom, 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 every,
No, it does it. You hit Control H, space, space. Replace with space. Every double space
Boom.
becomes single space.
all right, well, maybe you should do that for us, since you're.
I
Such an
will
expert.
certainly look
He
for
does,
them.
he does it all the time.
I already did.
He already did.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve Article 19th as discussed.
Second.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I hate to go on this one, but we discussed having critical in and out. It's
out.
Said,
Too
as
late now.
discussed.
It's
Too late now.
As
It's
discussed
out.
means it's out.
It's out.
We voted and it's gone.
I'll take it out.
All right.
I'm happy with that, but.
21.
21.
What did I miss? What did
I got
Oh,
you.
wait a minute.
What did I miss?
Oh, Sam's gotta know what's going on here.
19th,
You
okay.
change the wording on,
Raphael motion. Boyd second, unanimous.
Okay. And then I
Critical is
got
out.
agreed to remove the word critical, okay. Sure.
Oh, I do want to make, I did promise one of the FinCom members upstairs when I was upstairs earlier, broad comment around trade-ins going into the motion and confirming that all vehicles being purchased will have an offset trade-in. I know we spent a lot of time, and I articulated that upstairs, that the board felt strongly that it can be referenced as something that in the italicized is potential to happen, but the board did not feel comfortable requiring that as part of the motion. Also on the sheds, the shed request here for both the rail trail and the fire station, it was requested in the motion that only in the event of the sale of 10 School Ave. So that is the intention, and we are probably a couple of weeks from them getting the final approvals. And so it might be a moot point by the time we even go to print or right after we go to print. By town meeting, that building's probably going to be lined up for a signing of closure or closing to sell the building. So I don't know how the board feels. It was asked of me to bring that back too. We could talk more on Wednesday if we so want to choose, but I said I would say it, so I'm saying that.
But let me just say for the record, I am in favor of putting in the trade-in language in the motion, but I was, realized I was outvoted, and so I shut up about it.
It's been discussed. I did say this has all been discussed with the board. The board made a decision to move forward in a different direction, but I would bring that feedback down. So it's been said. Just I promised that would be the case. Wednesday, if anyone.
I feel like we're good where we are.
Yes, I concur.
Okay.
Which is what, saying we,
Keep it as it is.
Don't put it in the motion.
Italicized,
Well, the
don't put it in
trade-in.
the motion.
oh yeah, leave the trade in, I don't have a problem with that. I'm thinking about the fact that we need to
Only be
move
going to
forward with that
21. Between 19
and talk about the redevelopment of that building
Oh,
for
just
the.
not a
Oh,
motion.
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
I thought that's what we were talking about.
So thank you for letting me take that exit. Now I'm gonna get back on the highway. The next one is gonna be your
Think of that more as
21st.
a rest stop than an exit.
Filled up on a little gas.
21.
Fire department pickup truck. So I want to make sure everyone noticed that the dollar amount did increase. So chief did get a formal proposal, and that was the number. It's still going to be able to be covered. We have plenty. We do have enough money in our stabilization to still cover that cost for that pickup. And I know chief is going to said that this is the
$5,000 pickup truck.
It's also for the fit up as well, Mr. Metz. So it's a combination of the vehicle itself combined with the fire equipment that they're going to install on the vehicle too. That said, we are going to be
Not just a
aggressive.
pickup truck.
There's critical equipment on it.
Well, yeah.
Don't say critical. Nothing's critical.
So
Or everything is.
No, nothing is.
Or it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
He lost his vote, so
We knock Kevin off his,
no, we're
It's
good.
here.
It's an F350 is what the current vehicle is. I know that they're looking for something a little bit larger, and that's part of the reason why this is why the
Is it a
increase
Range Rover?
is not a Range Rover.
F-350s are about 85 to 95 grand.
Well, I just Googled Ford's largest pickup truck, and I don't think we're getting that. So the Ford F-750 is not likely what we're getting.
Gary
What's
would
the
like
list
that.
on that?
Yeah, I don't even know. That's what it looks like. It's basically a Mack truck with
oh my
a
God,
bed.
with 4 feet of 4 feet of ground.
I did
space.
have some more just grammar. Just look at them. They're non-substantive, so I'm not even going to bother mentioning them.
So on that Article 21st, like I said, we held off on that because I want to confirm the price. That is now a price that the chief would like us to move forward with, and I concur with her. And the stabilization account has such adequate money to cover that cost.
Who is there a regular user driver of that, or is that just brought out in special situations?
So it has a water tank on the back of it for brush fire purposes, the current F-350. It is usually the first vehicle when a 911 call goes and multiple people are responding, so the ambulance will go, but typically chief or if one of the two people might jump in, depending on the emergency, will jump on that vehicle to get there quickly and assess the situation, whether it's a fire or medical, as the ambulance comes behind and chief's arriving as well typically, and then they're able to assess the situation. They have 2 vehicles on site and then call firefighters if they come back, or even full-timers on callback, they're arriving as well, and then they have 2 apparatuses at that time, and if it's a fire, that vehicle, for instance, that was the first vehicle on scene during the Copper Mine fire a couple years ago, before anyone else. It's
So
a quicker
if there's a
transport.
call of not determined whether it's fire or ambulance, they'll jump in the pickup truck.
And this increase in costs, again, stabilization does not, it does not have a material effect on our plans as we build that account up for the future. We're looking multiple years, likely, don't want to commit to that necessarily, but the idea is that we are building that up for some of the bigger purchases in the future as well.
Okay.
I'd like to make a comment. I have preached for years the fact that we pay our fire chief and our police chief and our highway department to provide the equipment that they need to do their job. And then we sit here and question whether or not they really need that and how much it costs. And I think that's kind of over the top. If we're hiring people that we expect to do the job that is required, we ought to respect their opinion and say yes or no, but debate whether it's I think 105,000 is a huge number for a pickup truck, but that's what it costs, and our fire chief has said that's what it is. And as far as I'm concerned, we can move on.
All right, with that, is there a motion?
Recommended that the town vote to transfer and appropriate from ambulance stabilization the sum of
We're not
$105,000.
making the actual motion right now. Or are you just reading it out loud?
Approve the article.
Making a motion.
Well, yeah, we're not.
Looking for what, I was looking for one to approve.
Motion to accept Article 21st with non-substantive edits.
So moved.
I like it.
Someone else
Second.
actually has to say
Somebody
it.
has to say it.
Is that a second?
No, I moved it.
So
She
who's the first?
seconded it. Michelle seconded it.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okey dokey.
I think it's substantive, not substantive.
Or you could say minor changes.
Potato.
Yeah, I got it
You
written down.
guys are.
So next article, please, 23. That is the elementary school gym paint and new safety mats. Incorporated in this are the edits as I understood them and wrote them down from our meeting last Thursday.
Elementary school gym paint.
We punted on
Yes.
that because there was enough changes that we all agreed that we should update it and review it at least one time before voting it.
As I recall, the discussion was a matter of trying to clarify what we were really doing.
Yeah, some very good edits, but there were enough of those edits that it wasn't just grammatical in nature, so that's why we waited. But everything is incorporated as discussed.
Okay.
For the purchase of, second line of the bold. We're just missing the word of.
Oh, yeah.
Purchase of new safety mats. Okay.
I make a motion to approve Article 23rd, including minor changes discussed.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
So Article 28, there was edits that I received from a few different individuals that were incorporated in this. And so there was enough edits associated with this article that we waited to, again, just like the gym mats one, to give you all a chance to look it over. So
Can I ask on this one? Because again,
28.
there was someone here wondering about where their edits had been, which I thought were good edits. They're in here.
I put them in.
They're in here.
I think that individual's not a member of the Select Board or Finance Committee and might not have seen the last version I sent out.
Swore they were looking at 701.
They're there.
They're there.
Over
Right.
two.
Okay.
One more, he strikes out.
See, he was looking at board docs.
Board docs.
Which the top warrant article items are the old ones. The bottom of board docs is the new ones. So maybe he didn't get down to the bottom of it all.
Maybe. Is there a
Are
different
we on 28?
701?
Is that where we're?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's only one 701, so I don't know what happened, but the edits were
They're
good and they're there.
They were good
that's
edits. I appreciate the individuals
So-
providing those edits, and they were incorporated. They were good.
Yeah.
No, in the
Okay.
board docs, 602 and 601 red line are in the first two documents presented. And then as Marshall said, the 7th and 8th documents presented are the newer warrant articles.
Yep. All right, so I like the motion the way it is. I'll make a motion to approve Article 28.
Are those edits coming from Joe Giller?
In tandem with,
Would prefer me not talking about that?
I believe Mr. Geller has reviewed this edited
Without
language
doubt.
and is
Okay.
comfortable with it.
I'm sure I'll talk to him tomorrow night.
I myself have not personally, but that's my
I
understanding.
understand, okay.
Mr. Gant said he put the edits together with Mr. Geller.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Okay, all those in favor, or do we do, yeah, that's where we're at. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okey dokey.
38?
38, way down the list.
Right, what are we doing about this one?
Making progress here.
I'm gonna ask you to, I received KP edits on that one and Article 39 at 4 PM today, so I'm actually gonna say we should hold off on the accepted roads and wait till Wednesday to vote it, once I have a chance to review those edits from KP and incorporate them in the next version.
That subject is so complicated and it keeps
get it.
going
Why
on
so
and on and on.
All right, so that brings us to 40.
Enough said.
Oh, gosh.
I will be the first one to admit I have not read the entire thing yet. But my friend Copilot says we're doing a good job. But I also imagine that there may be other
Yeah,
comments
40,
from
oh,
other
that's
members
e-bike.
of the board.
I think Sam said earlier, it's a long.
She's right. Should we stop and read it now, or should we
We can-
defer?
I don't wanna go through. it.
So,
No,
received late last
pages.
week, the edits, or the language that KP Law put together. This is a bylaws for KP, working in tandem with advice from myself and the, police chief, based on feedback from the select board, have put together. Big picture, KP has said that there is some concerns the AG's office might not approve this bylaw. This bylaw also incorporates a lot of already existing state law. But there is some specificity that's been created in there. Ultimately, the goal of this bylaw is to address a concern that we've heard quite a bit over the last year and a half, relative to specifically e-bikes, but generally alternative means of transportation other than vehicle or pedestrian walking, right? And so this was an attempt to do something to try to give the police clarity so that when they come across somebody who's not using those vehicles in line with expectations that are set out in the bylaw, they have the teeth to be able to address that via fine. That said, there's a lot here. And one of the things I've said relative to, I'll give an example, the citizens petition around the special permit, is that there might be some really good information and merit to it, but time does matter to spend on that bylaw. And so in the same vein, I just want to say that if the board needs more time with this is certainly something we can wait till next year, or we can bring it up later in this process.
Or next meeting, perhaps.
Next meeting is Wednesday.
Yeah.
So we do, sorry, I should have reversed order. We can wait till Wednesday or a later meeting this cycle to dig into the language, see if it's something we want to move forward.
You don't have anything to
But
do
if we
tomorrow,
aren't able
so
to
you
get
can
there,
get into
considering the
it.
late time,
Exactly, yeah.
if we punted a year, we'd have something pretty good to start with and work on. It becomes a timing issue more than anything else at this point. It's not the merits. We know there's issues. We know this tries to address it, and we're one of the first communities in the Commonwealth to put something like this forward. Not the first, but one of. And so there's all that to consider as well. But that's my intro to it.
I don't think we should jump to deferring to next year at this point. I think we should try and read it in the next 48 hours and talk about it Wednesday.
Next 46 hours.
Well, the fact that I'm not gonna add to that, I'm just gonna say, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. And I would ask, has the chief of police seen this?
Yes, yes.
And a comment?
He felt it was fine.
He did?
Kevin said he worked on it with the chief and the
Well,
KP.
okay.
Bob,
It came
talk
from
a lot.
KNP.
To simplify it a little bit more for you, it starts out, I did go through it. It starts off with definitions, which is like a whole page.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes on to what's prohibited and what's allowed, and then some general stuff at the end.
Mhm.
I would be interested in hearing your feedback on it, just to see if, because I found a lot of it was a little bit confusing and some of it contradicts, like some information at the bottom contradicts what's at the top. I would be interested in hearing your feedback as well.
you know, if it's confusing, it's not just the police that have to interpret it, it's the residents.
That's right.
They have to understand whether they're doing something
That's
wrong or
exactly
not.
right.
I think it was my turn to talk.
But I should rather defer to my more experienced colleague.
This may shock you, so buckle up. I'm going to disagree with you.
Now we're at the point where it shocks us if you disagree with him. It shocks us if you agree with him.
I hope we have some.
I am 100% in favor of us continuing the conversation. I don't think we're in a place where this is going to make it onto this year's warrant. To your own point, there are things inside the article itself, the proposed bylaw, that doesn't agree with each other. But more than that, no amount of discussion between the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of us is going to know unintended consequences, things that we might be proposing in a town bylaw that might be in violation or in, conflict with a state law. Those are the things that I think we need to take time to look at. This is probably, in its idea, perfectly good, but I just don't know that we're gonna have the time required of something this deep, even if it's gone through KP Law, to get it on the warrant this year. And I don't know that it's vital that we do that either.
You know,
Can I ask logistically? I don't want to ask folks to look at this to rush through in the next 46 hours. So really what we're talking about is Monday.
I'm not going there.
Is Monday, and I think that's a do or die. I'd say we pump the decision. But I would like folks to take a look. It sounds like 2 have already taken a good look. Is there, so the logistic question I'm getting to is there somebody that's waiting for us? The FinCom has to vote even on these things, right?
So likely what would happen if they don't have it by Monday, so we don't take it up and move something on Wednesday, is that they will put recommendation pending. Doesn't mean that the article can't be on the warrant, it just means their recommendation. Now this is Finance Committee, this is there are fines associated with this article. I don't think it's not a free cash allocation, it's not a operating budget approval, it's
not a monetary issue.
right. FinCom still will weigh in, and there's good, we've got 7 really great intelligent people who will give a perspective, and we talked about the used car a couple years ago and they had an opinion on that.
Yep.
They will on this as well, and I know they'll be thoughtful on it. So if we decide to move it forward onto the warrant this year, that could be what we see, is a recommendation pending because of their timing. But it doesn't, I wouldn't say it would be prohibitive, because this isn't like the Mass Economic operating budget or debt exclusion or the town of Topsfield's budget.
Will you have time by Monday to look at it, form some thoughts and opinions?
I will try and read it in the next 45 3/4 hours.
Okay.
We gotta get out of here.
Boyd?
I just want to make a comment about the fact that this is really a huge kind of thing. And we've heard some complaints about the fact that kids are on the sidewalks with their bicycles and their e-bikes and all that. And I have a problem with an e-bike that can do 25 or 30 miles an hour on the sidewalk. But I don't want to create a bylaw that turns these kids into criminals.
It would be civil, it's fine.
I want to make sure that we're trying to make something better for the community rather than push certain parts of the community to the point where they're violating what we need to do.
I think the biggest thing we've heard and why we pursued this year, and with the support of the board, I think early on when we first started talking about this, was again, the police officers have limited ability to, other than to say, please stop. This outlines exactly what a fine structure would look like, and it's not. It's something that would allow $25 first offense, $50 second, third, and subsequent 100. So there wouldn't be any the only time this could become a criminal versus a civil would be if somebody has a fine outstanding and we decide to pursue it under. And at that dollar amount, 10-minute conversation with the lawyer would cost more money than what we'd recover probably if we tried to pursue it. So it's probably something we would never do, so.
So I think for the question before us really is, do we kill it until next year or for further discussion, or are folks open to continuing the discussion at least until Monday?
I'm, as the person who said I think most strongly that I don't think it should go in the warrant this year, I'm 100% fine with continuing the discussion.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
and even if it doesn't pass this year, I think there is some value to getting the word out that, you know, we need to think responsibly about the use of these devices.
Just to,
Oh, I don't know, yeah, that's a whole different subject in my opinion. I think that we need to send a message to the parents to tell them to treat their kids with their bicycles and their e-bikes responsibly. But I don't think we do that with this kind of a thing. I agree with that, really, I mean.
I think we have other alternatives. As someone that really wanted this to go through, I don't think we have enough runway to go through this. When you look at it and you talk about it on Monday, you'll see. What I would say is there are mass laws that apply to the town of Topsfield that I think we could be,
Enforcing more?
thank you, that's the word I was looking for. We could be enforcing those, and that would help a lot, including the one that states no e-bikes are allowed on any sidewalks. Because one of the primary feedbacks that we've been getting from residents is that there are e-bikes that are going very fast
On the sidewalk.
on sidewalks.
I know, you're right.
The other thing is, I think, so not only enforcing mass state law, I think the other thing that's worthwhile is there is an education opportunity that either we, from a town perspective or from the police perspective, but I was looking at Wellesley's town website, and they do not have a bylaw, but they do have a great page on e-bikes that basically points out where you can and where you can't ride the bikes. Simple enough.
Without a bylaw.
Without a bylaw. So I think at minimum, if we don't put in the bylaw this year, we should enforce the state laws and provide some sort of education and communication to the schools or on the website that helps people understand what they legally can and cannot do today. Because it's not just e-bikes, what we also have out there are are dirt bikes that people are riding, which in some cases require a license and registration, and they're actually 14-year-old kids riding them. So,
You know,
We actually
14-year-old
have-
can fly an airplane?
right.
We actually have 6 and 8-year-olds driving little vehicles
Yes.
that are motorized and can
Yes.
go 10 miles an hour on the
That's a
street,
problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
on streets.
So I think for
anyways,
Wednesday, if
yes.
people do have a chance, feedback and discussion, even if it doesn't make it this year,
I don't think it'll happen by Wednesday.
we'll have a placeholder if we want to, but definitely on
We
Monday's
can
work
move
session
on.
as well.
I agree. It's not gonna happen by Wednesday, but
Any feedback in any of our meetings until we hit the finish line is welcome.
Okay.
That way.
So,
And I would, if I may, one last thing, I would say that if in people's review, they determine, as I believe I have, that it may not go on this year's warrant, then we don't spend a lot of time now, because basically now we have the whole year.
yeah, the first decision is it going on the warrant or not?
Yeah.
Or, sorry, do we kill it? Yes or no? Do we keep discussing it? Or do we keep discussing it / kill it later?
Yeah.
But if we're gonna kill it early.
And that, to that point, I know FinCom's anxious for the select board to vote, so if this is something on Wednesday, decide move forward or not, that would be really helpful, I think, for their Monday meeting that they're hoping to get the votes on.
Yeah, I just realistically don't.
I will have an opinion by Wednesday, and it will be to kill it or modify it.
All right, we will decide on that on Wednesday then.
So if we can go back to Article 4, please.
But if we don't
45,
present it,
just to keep
if we
going.
decide not to present it this year, there's nothing to say we can't come up with something like Wellesley has, half a dozen do's and don'ts.
We can continue for
That's
education. I think
based
that
on state law.
the only issue is I think a lot of the kids that are probably out there and their parents aren't necessarily going to our website. So it's a matter of education to them.
Yeah, like give them, I think they get pieces of paper they bring home in their backpacks to their parents. So if we can do something like that,
It's surprisingly
I'm more than happy to
difficult
help with that
put in
too,
there.
because it's concerning when you're driving
That's
down
part
the
of what
street.
we need to do, is educate the parents
That's
about the
right.
fact that
Just
these
get-
kids
Point.
don't belong on the sidewalk with e-bikes.
But to your point, having the website, easy low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
And at the very least, if somebody calls with a complaint, we'd say we have this page. If your next door neighbors you think they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, feel free to direct them here, or push it on a Facebook post if
Yeah.
somebody has a question on it and what we're doing, so.
You can
the-
create the page,
It's
print
huge
it out.
value to it.
Yeah.
I think the in the moment when somebody's being disrespectful, that's where speaking with chief, having the teeth of a fine, even if it's not a tremendous amount, does give them ability to actually in the moment educate too. So leave it at that. We'll come back to it on Wednesday and Monday.
Oh, boy.
Yes, Doc.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Oh, boy. Ask the schools to educate them. Done.
Say what?
Ask the schools to educate the kids on what proper ways to do things.
That's part of the problem is education of
being a little-
whatever.
Or have the
And
chief
that might be the way to
go
do
in the
it.
schools and
I know, but I just feel like the town's trying to figure out how to educate the kids, and it's like, don't we have all these schools lying around in our town that can educate the kids?
All right.
I know.
Good idea.
All right, so moving along, the way I see it, Kevin, we've got 12 still, which I thought we made great work, did great work the other night, but we still got 12.
a lot of them are out of our hands. So we have the planning articles.
Four
But we don't
planning,
have anything else
four
to
we
do.
just skipped over,
Two
and then
KP.
3, 4, 5, 6.
We did
So we have
4,
two
so it's
KP.
33%.
The one we just skipped over here, 40. We've got, don't talk the money ones because we haven't covered those yet ones. But then we have, sorry, so we have the 4 planning articles. We got the 2 KP articles and the Masco. That's 7 right there. And then
And bikes is 8,
and bikes is 8. And then we have the money ones which we haven't covered yet, but we
That's
can make some
12.
progress tonight.
so that's 12.
My wife is home, so it's not home, so doesn't matter when I get home.
So if we go to Article 4, this is very brief. No vote tonight. I'll be bringing
54, did you say?
4.
4.
So
Water
now we're
budget.
going back to
We're
the
going all the way back up there?
Back, way
Going
back.
to finishing with the money ones. So the next version will have incorporated budget on the far right, what's highlighted, that was voted tonight. Article 5th, this is the updated Masco budget.
Yeah.
The highlighted numbers is because we have not received the certified budget as of the point of when I submitted this to everybody.
But they did approve at their last Wednesday night meeting, right?
They approved the budget, this budget reflects what was approved. However, typically, until I have the official certified for Masco, I won't unhighlight these numbers, but these numbers are reflected. What we did is what we spoke about at the work session for Masco, for the article purposes, it's one motion.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Yes,
It's one motion incorporating their capital and debt and their operating budget and the additional funding needed beyond the levy capacity and the guideline of 100, which equals $140,000.
for Essex Aggie.
No,
That's
Masco still.
So this should reflect what you have. Your question is, I don't have a certified budget now, so I have these numbers highlighted. They should be good numbers, but the finance team as well, I always have them do a once over on the numbers that I calculate out to. Amanda's on a conference the next few days, so I'll have it by Thursday when she comes in. I'll have her take a look as well as on these numbers. But
So
if
this,
the language outside the numbers are appropriate, it's just plugging them in. So if you're okay with the language as presented, you can either vote it tonight or do it on Wednesday, but the language for this is what I heard, one motion incorporating it all.
So part of the discussion when we touched upon this last time is whether we should reject, well, I should say, it was put out there as a possibility that we can, in the same motion, approve the appropriation and, I don't wanna say reject, but not agree with the budget. Personally, they came so close to guidance. I do not want to do that, but we said we would discuss it. So I think this is the time to do that. Putting in language that says we don't agree with your budget, but we approve the appropriation anyways. I don't wanna do
Are
that.
you okay.
We just said last meeting that we would discuss it later. Later is now.
So I think we're just approving form for the purposes of this article, right? So we're not approving whether we agree with it or not, unless you can, I mean. We have to put on the warrant the Masco budget.
Right, so in the motion, we can still reject their operating budget.
So FinCom in essence will make them, the motion is the FinComs. So basically they will need to agree to do as presented, but, so basically how the The recommendations from the FinCom, they read the recommendation on the floor.
So,
But we're writing them all.
so
So
They can
what-
change it if they don't like it.
Right, I
the
know,
motion.
but the option was pointed out to us that we can say no, because if 2 out of the 3 towns say no, they have to go back to the drawing board, right? And still appropriate the whole amount. So we can make our vote go that way, but appropriate in case the vote doesn't go that way.
May I ask, since you've already been clear, I mean, I was there when we had this discussion. I don't support it, you don't
I don't
support it.
support
Does
it.
anyone support it here? Then if no, why are we even talking about it?
Because that's what I said, we would give you all the option, the chance to discuss it.
you were saying no, you don't support their budget?
No, I'm saying I don't support changing the language to say I don't support.
Oh, the negative, so I think I pick it.
Vote no on the budget, appropriate the money anyways is an option. I wanna say yes, vote yes for the budget and appropriate.
The notion is to send a message. I think it's a message that nobody's gonna receive, but the
Not this year especially.
one or two people who, particularly because I think good work was done in getting to where we are. Like, this is not the year to send this message, I don't believe.
And I know I did speak with the chair, he doesn't speak for the entire board, but the chair of the finance committee we had this conversation about the structure of having it being, instead of 2 motions this year, 1 motion. Like we talked about, that basically supports both the budget and the appropriation.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much the town appropriations for Middleton and Boxford were, because I was under the impression with the idea that they're able to cover the entire Masco
They are.
West
There's no override.
without an override, that theirs was very low and ours was exploding because of the students' population, but that's not true. And in fact, Boxford's increase, if I looked at those numbers right in their presentation, was greater than ours.
So both,
I don't know, how are they doing it? How are Middleton and Boxford having this gusher of tax revenue?
Well, first, if their guidance is higher, that's one way.
so Boxford's assessment is $213,900, a 1.6% increase. The Middleton assessment is $115,943 new dollars, a 1% increase. The town of Topsfield is $180,368.
So Boxford's more than us, but they don't need an override. I don't know how they're doing it, but
Well, part of it is they have higher guidance to begin with. Our FinCom gave 2 1/4, their FinCom gave 2 1/2.
Different subject.
So they have levy capacity, Mr. Metz. I've been spoken many times with my colleagues in both towns. And they are looking to avoid the override and the risk that it doesn't happen. And in an event that doesn't happen, that they still have to fund it if Topsfield and the other town goes along. 2 of the towns are planning on no override for Masco this year because they did make significant sacrifices, cuts, whatever you want to call it, within their operating budget to try to get close to the finance committee guidelines in all 3 towns. Their operating budget went up 35,000 over the guideline. 35,000. And if you take their debt and capital, which is 105,000 and change, it equals roughly 105. We have a $140,000 override, and that's relatively speaking significantly less than what we saw last year, which was close to $800,000, and that didn't even include their capital. That was that we pulled that out separately. So. When we've had any controversy or significant asks in the past, we've broken them out into 2 motions, base budget and second. But because the other 2 towns, because of how much they've done to work it down, they're building it into their budget without an override. They'll have 1 question to vote their budget, which I imagine will pass. Ours will be 1 motion to vote the budget and for the override. And then it would go to the ballot 2 days later.
so these yellow numbers are, we believe, to be close.
They should be
But they're
accurate.
not official yet, so you can't take the yellow off.
So if you want to vote the article contingent upon any modifications and come back and vote it finally, once the numbers are in there, you do need to vote it with the numbers finalized.
No point in voting on it now.
Is the structure of because I know FinCom wants to know what the structure is. Because they'll have the numbers as well.
So going back to my original question, is there any appetite? So far, there's 2 no's for changing it to say we don't approve of your budget, but we want to appropriate the money anyway.
No,
No, okay.
if we
There's
don't
three
approve
no's.
it, we
Four
should
no's.
be against it.
5 no's. Okay, so leave it as a
Structure is
But now you have fulfilled your promise for us to discuss it.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you're a good man, Charlie Brown.
Thanks. My mom
So
was right.
after this next one, I wanna flip to the ballot
Mom
question.
loves him too.
So I did make some modifications in the language in the
To
italicized
6?
section.
We're on
Where-
Sorry, Article 6, Essex North Shore. So there's some modifications to the italicized, just to try to keep it consistent with the
yeah.
article prior and give some clarity.
But so question on that, just sorry to interrupt. I saw it not being consistent with Article 5. It seemed different. What was in there
So
seemed different than the language that
are
we
you
had
talking about the
for
motion or are you
Article
talking about the
5.
italicized?
The both.
The italicized, there's 2 paragraphs, as Masco has 1.
It's because I call out in the first paragraph the language we typically use when there's not an override. I didn't take that language out because it gives some good information relative to how many students are enrolled, the difference year over year, the per pupil cost, and the increase associated with that. So that's why I kept that the same to explain what the costs are. The second then explains how we're breaking this out because it's an unusual year. Well, this year's the first year that they're coming with significant increase.
Well, can I ask that we go to, I've got some suggestions on the italicized, but I'm still confused on the motion itself. It seemed different than what we had for Masco.
Let's table it. I did see, I know KP looked at it. Again, I got that email. I just saw it before this meeting. It came in after 4 o'clock today.
Yeah.
I did see on that one that there was some tweaks. Can I just ask, is the structure of this one sufficient? I will take the KP edits.
But that's what I'm saying. The structure was different than what we had in Article 5. So in that sense, I don't think it was okay, in my opinion.
Yeah, because
What's the
the
difference?
Masco one, we say Topsfield share, Topsfield increase above guidance, and then at the end of the motion, we mentioned the total budget of 44 million. Whereas in Essex, we start with the total budget, then we go to Topsfield's share, and then we go to the increase above guidance, it's an override. So that the order of those 3 things is
Maybe
different.
it was just the order. That was the first thing I did, was look at the line. Masco's first line is to raise, assess, and appropriate. What was here was vote to approve the gross operating budget. So maybe it is just the order. I
It's the
just
order.
noticed that they were different.
The order could be changed a little bit to make it
I
clearer.
think, take the Masco language, substitute Masco with Essex Tech and make them as similar as possible would be my preference.
Yeah, I think in terms of the thought sequence you would go through, the total organization budget, our town's share, our town's override. I mean, that seems like a logical sequence to start with the biggest picture and focus in step by step.
That's the italics. I agree with you, the order of,
No, I was thinking you mean that order should be in the italics, or that order is in the italics?
it's in the italics.
Right,
it's
so I
got
think the
different orders.
motion should be, that's a good way to present the motions, and they should be in parallel. I agree with Raphael.
So do you want the total amount at the end?
No.
Do whatever you've done for Masco, because that's the same language, that's consistent year after year after year,
Oh, is it? Okay.
right? Well, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm making a bad assumption.
Well, I don't remember.
I believe it
I'll
is.
take your word for it, but.
Typical.
And then on the italicized part, I put in some suggestions as well. Because, again, remember Wednesday night, I said, I can't figure out why their operating budget is going up 4.5% and our assessment is going up 8.5%. Well, I finally looked at the documents that you gave me weeks ago, so thank you, I finally got the chance to do it. The thing that we're missing is our appropriation is going up 8.5% because capital is going up 50% or 41%, something like that. Transportation is going up 40%. Those are not the operating budget. I think we need to be calling
Oh, yeah.
that stuff out
So
too.
last year, we had the capital in a separate article. Now it's in the,
Essex Tech?
no, not Essex Masco.
Yeah. So no, we're
talking
just
about
talking Essex Tech. So there's 4 parts. This is what I've learned. There's their operating budget, there's the transportation budget, the debt budget, and the capital budget. So this is going up 4.5%, which we called out in the italics. So good job on them, I guess ish. But these things are adding another 4% to our appropriation. And that was my confusion why I said this doesn't math out. That's the piece of information that we need to add to the italics, in my opinion.
Did you move to Article 6?
6, yes.
I thought you were still talking about the Masco budget.
Nope.
Okay.
And
He said Masco a lot because he was comparing it to
yes.
Masco.
I don't see all those pieces here in Essex Tech. This,
First italicized paragraph on Essex Tech.
yeah, the first is, the gross budget's 41 last year, 43 this year,
4.5%.
1.8 million increase.
Yep.
29 students.
So just for relatively sake, last year, I just took last year's
I don't
language in
see
the first
those
paragraph.
other
So if we wanna add additional language
that's
to
what he's saying.
clarify
He
on
wants to
something,
add that.
that's fine. We can do that. That's why this language has been pretty standard for the Essex Tech, and it doesn't mean we can't change. It just means that, if we wanna call out those particular items, we can. We never have drove into what's driving their increases in the past. It's just, this is the cost and this is the enrollment shift.
My
But the
feeling
thing is, it's confusing because it says their operating budget's going up 8.5%, but our bill's going, or it's 4.5, but our bill's going up 8.5%. You get the same question, why are those so different?
So it was the same last year. The numbers didn't change too much. I know it wasn't something that came up, but in this instance with the override, maybe it draws more attention and that question's asked. I would suggest in the preamble that if that needs
Last
to
year,
be,
we only had one paragraph for Essex
because we have an override.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Override.
yeah, you're right.
you know,
You're right.
I
I
wouldn't
don't
get
know why I
into
didn't catch it.
splitting the budget up into 4 or 5 pieces in this section of the warrant book. If we wanna split that up into all those pieces, I'd have an attachment B.
No.
No?
I put some language in there,
They don't seem to wanna do that.
Apparently, that wasn't a big winner.
which includes the increase in the operating budget as well as increases in transportation, capital, and debt service.
I mean,
It's just words, it's a suggestion.
I would caution in the Article 3 is a little different because that's our budget. This is what we're getting from them. My personal opinion would be is that what's driving it needs to be part of either a presentation from Essex Tech or from the FinCom preamble when they talk about the article,
But then why do we mention operating budget at all?
because that's what they give us to appropriate funds for.
No, we're appropriating funds for operating,
Well, the assessment.
transportation.
I changed,
Exactly.
so I said the gross assessment
Exactly.
up here.
Yeah,
versus
just call it the
operating.
total budget. The total school district budget, don't call
It's
it
not the
operating.
budget,
It's not the total budget.
it's not the budget.
Well, what the hell is it then? Why is it even in there if it's not the budget? We're talking about budget.
It's
So
our
let me look
assessment.
at Lauren's language on the motion, because she's
No,
reviewed this.
41 million is their budget, that's not our.
43.
43 is.
That's their
the
operating budget,
budget.
isn't it?
That is
You're
their,
telling me that's not operating because it's got other stuff in there.
No, our assessment has other stuff in there.
Well, the budget better have that other stuff in there too.
so what they,
Operating budget, sorry.
so what we get from Essex Tech from their budget is Essex North Shore Agricultural
Okay, yeah.
Technical School District preliminary budget summary. And this is what they say their gross budget is. So if we're gonna keep language accurate to tie back, gross budget, whether they do it correctly or not, this is the gross budget,
Which is
43
what?
million.
43 million.
Yeah, so take
you're-
out the
you're-
word operating and call it gross budget.
So my only question
and
though,
it
then
is
why
gross.
would we
it's everything.
call out I think it's confusing, and it was confusing last year. I don't know where it was last year, I should have brought it up last year too. You say, here's going up 4.5%, that's one of the 4 key pillars that we're highlighting, but this is going up 8.5%. I don't know why I didn't ask that question last year.
It's interesting because it's all there.
Right, they
Oh,
refer.
it's all there, it all maths out,
So-
once I saw
So,
this.
for example, Masco, a couple years ago, when we submitted some language, their finance director came back with a lot of edits. And what he did is he tied back specific language in what they voted, words matter, to the article. Gross operating versus operating, but things like that. Lot of little tweaks to it, but it was good. And in the same sense, it's in this article, language is trying to tie back to the language they used, what they submitted to us, so that someone can refer back to the document that tells us what it is. So whether it technically should be called something other than the gross budget,
Maybe we just
Take out.
simplify it and just call it gross budget.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't even
operating
mention
isn't on this
operating.
page anywhere.
They call it foundation.
I know, that's what I mean, it's not in here. So, just call it gross budget,
Give it to him.
and it is gross.
It is gross.
You're like the guy who says, this tastes horrible, here, have some.
It's not in the 4.5% increase.
I gave you some junior mints.
Yeah, no, they were good, I had to go get a frozen.
43 million, that's
So
it.
for
Why not?
Wednesday, I will have, prior to the
I thought you were
meeting,
saying-
submit an updated warrant. In that warrant, I will update this language based on KP's edits, and then what we just discussed to make sure language does tie back to what they provided us formally.
So maybe in this case, simplifying it
Yeah.
makes it easier.
And Mr. Chair,
I'm a big
I'll receive
fan
your
of,
edits too, and we can look at back
Yeah.
relative to what.
But I think my edits might
8%.
even be more complicated than they need to be, so feel
I'm
free
a-
to.
I'm a big fan of parallel construct between 5 and 6,
Yes.
and start with the big total budget, go to our share, go to our override.
So I already changed the,
I
for
second that.
an example, recommended that the town vote to approve the fiscal 2027 assessment, or some language, of the Essex North Shore Agricultural Technical School, and raise and appropriate the sum of $516,000 and change, an additional sum of $93,000, to fully fund this assessment to the town, go through the language about the override, and then like with the Masco, the last piece of the last sentence, and further to acknowledge that if such override is passed at an election, the town will have approved the Essex North Shore Agricultural Technical School District FY 2027 operating budget.
Gross budget,
Nope, but operating budget, which is what they submitted to us, in the amount of $43,134,001.
well, Masco calls it operating?
So the formal document they submit to us of their certified
They
budget,
being,
Essex Tech.
Essex Tech, we're in
The title they use for the document that is their,
Article 6.
that includes that 43,000, which is everything that was referred to, capital, special education, but transportation.
43 million.
It's referred to as the Essex North Shore Agricultural and Technical School District Preliminary Budget Summary, fiscal 27. And then it says gross budget, 43,134,188.
gross budget, doesn't say operating.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what
what
he's saying, take out the word operating,
Right.
because that does not.
Gross budget,
Yes.
yeah.
And then I'm just gonna
It's
ask.
not 43,000, I wish it was.
I'm just gonna ask the same thing. We have the option to reject the budget and appropriate anyways in this motion. Is there any appetite for that? If there is, speak up.
I don't
Only if we
understand
wanna
why
Oh,
we
they're
do that.
speaking up.
Only if we wanna be labeled hypocrites.
I'm sorry, what?
Only, we would do that
don't worry,
unless we
it's
wanted to be labeled
Nobody
hypocrites.
wants to do it.
No, we don't.
Nobody wants to do it. Okay.
Alright, so we're gonna
great.
skip to the end of the warrant now.
Walk the talk and
Now,
talk the walk.
question, I got a question about Article 6. Have you made any progress with talking to people about how the big towns have
Yes, so last week.
and made the small towns pay the price for this?
So as we all know, where there's recently state mandate that agricultural schools and technical schools in Massachusetts, instead of taking a merit-based approach in enrollment, they're using a randomized lottery. As such, they came up with a new system targeting how many people in that lottery, how many students for the freshman class would be their target for each community based on a 3-year average. That was their subcommittee work over a number of months. Called the 11th hour, within a week of their final vote, the largest 4 communities balked on it. Not because their number changed, because again, it's based on the average enrollment over 3 years, but because they wanted to reduce their numbers to help ultimately to reduce their operating costs in their side. Problem is enrollment totally is not coming. The total enrollment's not going down, so you're shifting those students to the smaller communities that don't have the vote to stop it. And so they forced the vote to change it based on eligible 8th graders in every community in the 17 communities in the district. And that became a new prorated amount of enrollment for the freshman class for next year, our next budget. It was for this September, but it won't affect our budget until next year when we're doing this. And as such, we went from 7, which has been our average enrollment for the freshman class the last 3 years, to 15. And as such, and we've discussed this, that's problematic from a financial side from us, coupled with the fact of how the process was not transparent, open, and the smaller towns did not have an opportunity to deliberate or for the board members to come back to the communities. It was brought up in the last meeting and it was voted in the last meeting for that change unexpectedly. And most importantly, I've said this privately and I think I've said this publicly as well, is that at the end of the day, enrollment shifts that drastic. Peabody went from 125 to 71 kids, and that's the largest member of the district. That's leaving a lot of kids on the sideline that traditionally expected and would hope to get that seat to a very important education that they might not be able to have, and it could be life-changing for them. And so, broadly speaking, looking at this change, but ultimately ensuring that the best decisions are made around the student and those families are made to make sure no kids left behind. And so I've had a number of meetings with Dr. Riccio, the superintendent. She'll be here next Monday to present to you, to be able to ask questions. She's been very good at responding, calling me late in the evenings and on weekends, because sometimes that's what our executives, that's when we have our time to do those things. And I've met with her and her finance director at Essex Tech a few weeks ago, and I said, I'd like to come and speak and address your board. So last week I was invited to come, and I did just that. And it was, we've received well. The approach we took was to articulate the concerns of the change, but to make sure that they know that they've got a tremendous opportunity to work with the community and the experts within their communities to work collaboratively as a whole, not just for the largest communities forcing their hand, but to work with, take the 17 communities together and build something that's purposeful, meaningful, and doesn't pick winners or losers. And I think that I saw a lot of hot head nodding, and I believe there was some appreciation in that approach versus some of the more recent approach by other communities when they came in demanding different approach.
How about this idea that there's 50 kids, for example, in Peabody, who are shortchanged in their career development? They were counting on this. Was there any recognition that that's maybe misguided educationally?
I think that the board as a whole, and I've had a chance to talk with Adam Harler, who's our rep, and I think his mind and his mens rea, his perspective is aligned with where ours is. And I think, though, that there really wasn't an opportunity when the Big Four, as I'll call them, forced the hand and the straw vote.
Were they there?
Oh, they were not the meeting I was at, but the meeting prior when they voted this.
Yeah.
And so I think they were caught in the moment. I think they made a decision, and that's fine. I think now we just have to move forward because it's a one-year vote. And I think by going and articulating our willingness to work with them, not against them, let's put all the heads in a room. Let's find a result that can work for hopefully everybody. We don't pick winners or losers, and we bring everybody under the tent, and we all have those discussions. It's incredibly powerful and important. And I think that it allows us an opportunity to change the directive, the narrative, and allows us to really get in there, roll up our sleeves, and hopefully do right by the kids.
All right, so that's half of the town administrators.
One more question.
There.
It seems like education sometimes gets so focused on the money, we forget that there's kids who have needs.
But we also have to focus on the money. Got to do both.
Kevin, you feel that you've made some progress with that organization,
We appreciate our partnership, and we'll continue to work closely with them to defend the best.
and maybe we can do something about that in the
Is this a
future.
press conference?
I mean, move
Any
on.
advice?
We can
You're doing good.
maybe do something better in the future.
We're going to work incredibly hard to do best by our kids.
But right now, we're focused on the budget
Yes,
and the
we are.
warrant articles.
Yes, we are.
So if you go to the
And you don't have any choice.
end, second to last page.
Will we have 15 kids to sign up if that's
Yes.
a allotment?
Yeah.
They filled it up. They had
It's
32 kids or 33 kids apply for
32.
15 spots.
Okay.
So we're going to see a significant increase next year, greater than the one
And the
we're
year
seeing this
after.
year. If it
And
does,
conceivably-
not
What
necessarily.
article are we jumping to?
Conceivably,
This is
that's
the warrant,
Third to last page.
Page
walking
26.
year by
Which
year to
article?
a double, right?
not article.
Yeah,
What?
the freshman class will
Valid
double every
question.
year.
Valid question.
Which is,
All right, I'm on page 22nd,
but
26.
that is
Now,
why
now,
25% increase.
our bill this year is not being touched because it's based on October
I'm with
1st.
He doesn't have
And that'll be a 25%
Penn
a
doesn't
year
really get it
increase for
done.
4 years, right?
So
No
this-
one,
what they
no
voted
one's going to get the gavel.
a month and a half ago was for 1 year for next
What
year.
if I don't turn in
They're
my
working right
papers
now
unless I
with the
get
smaller
gavel?
communities
The not
and with
chair,
the
I
larger
want the gavel
communities to
down
try to come
here
up with
this
a better solution going forward. So we don't find ourselves in that situation. They recognize
But if it is rolled forward as is,
then it's big money for
it would
over
be
4 years.
25% a year for.
You got it.
25%
Anticipate our,
plus.
well, it goes from 7 to 15, so right now,
By class.
So I'm on the election warrant part of the warrant?
Yeah, but we
cost
haven't
is-
moved there yet.
So our cost is $600,000 this year.
I have an editorial comment to make about this subject. I'm of the opinion that we need to make sure that we work diligently to support technical schools, because I think there are a ton of kids that probably should be going to technical schools rather than spending $50,000 and $60,000 and $70,000 a year for a degree that when they get out there aren't gonna know what to do with. So I'm totally in favor
And I
of
think
technical schools.
8.5% growth year over year shows that support.
It doesn't, yeah.
But what you're talking about, Boyd, is the total capacity of the school, not necessarily what Topsfield does as a partner. In the
I'm talking about, yeah.
Operations
yeah,
versus cost.
yeah, No question.
So if you go to page
I'm not
26,
talking about Topsfield.
All right, page 26.
so at the bottom of it, you'll see two highlighted sections, question 1 and question 2. Question 1 is an attempt to take last year's override question, modify it accordingly. This has been sent to the clerk and KP, as I've asked to review it as well. But the idea here is that it represents what the question could read.
clerk.
Our
Our
clerk.
clerk.
Beth? She's in the hallway over there?
Can I ask, like, this isn't the first time we've had a, let's call it a simple override. So does this match what we've done in the past?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Second question is, shall the town, Topsfield be allowed to assess an additional $233,784, that is Masco plus Essex Tech, in real estate and personal property tax for fiscal year 2027, secondary education operating budgets comprised of Masconomic School District, as presented under Article 5th of the May 5, 26 annual town meeting warrant, and the Essex North Shore Agricultural and Technical School District as presented under Article 6 of the May 5, 2026 annual town meeting warrant, the fiscal year beginning July 1, 26. Now, again, KP's reviewing this for technical components of it, but for the structure, this is what we talked about the other day,
This looks good.
putting these together. So 2 separate warrant articles, 5 and 6, 1 ballot question, representing the total of the 2 secondary education.
In the second line where it says taxes for FY27 secondary education operating budgets, that makes, you could almost implies that that's the total budget we're voting on here, not, is there some way to imply we're talking about the override portion of the budget, or
It says assess an additional $233,000.
for the secondary operating?
And here we have to be careful because like that discussion we just had about Essex Tech, it's not their operating budget. Or is it? I guess we would be saying no to their
Gross
operating
versus
budget.
operating.
Yeah, no, I think it's fine actually.
So
Oh, I see
the
what you're saying.
third question is a placeholder. I ask we don't discuss it tonight because there's nothing to discuss other than when Masco provides it.
Wait, I didn't want to move off of question 2.
Sorry.
So there has been some feedback I've gotten is there's some consternation from certain parts of the town about mushing the two together. I just want to make sure we are in agreement still about having Article 5 and Article 6 overrides together in one ballot question. I am.
I am.
Okay.
I'd be curious, what is the feedback though? Willing to
The feedback I heard, I know you didn't ask me, but I heard him resist for a moment. I think there's a fear from some people particularly concerned about Masco, that combining them together might risk the Masco passing.
I think so.
And I think that they're probably generally aware of why we're doing it the way we're doing it. So,
I would just add the other 2 towns are going to pass Masco.
yeah,
And so if we don't, it's not really a Masco problem, it's a town problem.
yeah.
Without doubt.
Which in fact, we shared back to the people who expressed those thoughts to us, so.
I just want to iterate it and we're all on the same board. So it's all page. So now we can go to
Question 3, no conversation because we're waiting for language.
Okay.
But that's what
Can
they
we
gave
talk
us.
about it anyway? That's what we've done all night.
Now, where
I
you
will
going?
say that if anyone, I'm not gonna again go over it, but I would just say this is what they gave me 2 years ago when they put this OPM question up. So if you want to just familiarize yourself, not tonight, and then this is a question, but if you want to just read it, this is what we would expect, something similar to
This
research.
is Article 3?
Question
Nope,
three.
question three.
Question 3.
Can we talk about question 2 one more moment, please?
Yeah, sure.
In the second line where it says, and personal property taxes for FY 27 secondary education, does it make sense to say and personal property taxes for a portion of the FY 27 secondary education budgets?
Or should that read assessment?
For a portion of the 27 secondary education assessments comprised of,
I'm not sure because it says assess an additional, which kind of refers that you need additional
Yeah.
money above it.
Are you mentioning are you calling out the fiscal year 2027 same portion because you're relating that back to property taxes?
no, I'm
'Cause they're not
relating
gonna
it back
just-
to, it's not the whole budget, it's this additional.
I think the assess and
Oh, I see what you
additional
mean.
says that there's 2 budgets and one's already been, this we're asking for additional money by the first few, I think it's repetitive if you put that in. It's a great suggestion, I just think we don't necessarily need the extra words.
That was a big one, you really threw that
Too
ball.
obvious.
Very obvious.
Great suggestion, he said.
Bob, you're doing a great job.
You're doing a great job, stupid ideas, but a great
Did you
job.
get a haircut? It looks wonderful.
The camera's wrong for that one.
It comes up as
I do like yours.
Where are we?
Bob actually called me from the barber shop while in the seat. on
What's
Friday.
that? Yeah,
We were sitting in the seat Friday.
yeah, I texted you about Leela's.
The only
Can't even go to the barber shop
So,
and have a moment
you
of
already
peace.
reiterated 2 or 3
texted him.
people will go through and do spell check and
Yeah,
And
what
all
we
that
do
fun
is
stuff.
once we get all through this, highlight goes away.
can I be one of those? people
Absolutely.
too?
I'll send it out to one of our employees who used to be a copy editor, actually at a publishing firm. This is like bread and butter. So she reads it every year before we go to print. Sam and Debbie also read it before we go to print. I do one more look on it. And in the past, I've had a former select board member who's been very interested in the language in the warrant also do a final review before we go to print. And I would say that it would be welcome to have another set of eyes and yourself, Mr. McDonald, as well.
When do we go to print?
End of the month.
Yeah, if we could get rid of those pesky double spaces between sentences.
I'm telling you, I was
lived
crushed
my
too.
whole life. I am crushed.
I was.
You kind of rock my
I've
world
been
tonight.
there. I've been there. And also, you're not supposed to indent the first sentence on a paragraph anymore, evidently.
Can we talk about
the
the
way it
Oxford
looks.
comma next? I mean,
All right, Article 3.
I have
We
thoughts.
always did.
Why don't
We
we stick
always
with the warrant
indented.
tonight?
Article 3. So
We're going back to Article 3?
Article 3. So you notice in the version 7.01, I did not update any of the language there because I think coming off of last meeting, we had some good conversation, but we didn't have any definitive result. There was, let's take a look at some more options on Attachment A. Attachment A and Article 3 are going to be tied at the hip this year because of the override, and I think one can't be discussed without the other. Because I think we want to both make it simple, as Mr. Jackson said the other day, so it's not confusing, but also transparent. And so and at the same time, also set ourselves up for success so that we don't have a situation where we're articulating specific costs, and then if it doesn't pass, we're tied to those cuts versus just a general, like the schools have had, or like Masco's had. If appropriation does not pass, then they have discretion on what they want to cut. And so I'm gonna actually reverse engineer this and start with attachment A that you haven't seen, it doesn't exist yet. But what we've discussed is basically, like you see in the water article, warrant Article 4 for water. Last year's appropriation, what it's for, and then what the new appropriation is with a percentage increase. Basically, that bottom line number would tie into the omnibus.
That's how I remember it, actually, from a couple of years prior.
Yeah, we changed it with the contingency when, that's accurate. We put the contingency budget in for the override for the schools when it wasn't supported by the FinCom. So that we had a base budget, that's when we broke out 2 motions for the first time. And so what we're looking to do is take the contingency out, bake in the full amount of attachment A, but below that, put in there basically a, make sure I speak this correctly. We would put in there a section that would basically say what the total budget within guidelines are, representing the 2.7 increase that was given to us by the Finance Committee. Below that, additional funding appropriation for the operating budget, which is $260,000, and then the snow and ice deficit funding amount. And then we'd say below that, the total contingency appropriation / override of the 375 number that we came up with the other night. And so that would give us basically clarity in attachment A of the breakout, but gives us still at the same time gives us the flexibility to be able to, if not passed, look through our budget to make the cuts necessary to come back with an updated budget and an STM, or cut 375 if we so had to. So that's attachment A and sort of the general concept.
Did you say attachment A would be all the total gross numbers, and then we'd have a subtotal below?
Break it out below
This
that.
piece is the override, this piece is.
So it's very important.
So at the
Omnibus has a total amount. There's no identified overrides in there, or budget drivers call it. I don't want to call it override because they're all budget drivers. Anything that increased from year over year, if it increased $50, increased $50,000, those all are budget drivers on increase. And so the idea here is that Omnibus has a total amount because we don't pull out anything special. It just says this is what we need. And the attachment A, which is Omnibus isn't there, so we usually tie that back in dollar per dollar, so that number can be tied if anybody's following Omnibus to attachment A. Below that is where we articulate what the FinCom guideline was, which would tie into motion A, and then it would break out what the override is, which would tie into motion B of the article.
Okay, that sounds remarkably similar to the suggestion that was made last meeting.
There's a reason for that. Feedback works.
Right? When will we be able to see attachment A?
Wednesday, hopefully. Attachment A is usually the town accountant, and she's at a conference through Wednesday. But we had some conversations earlier today about expectations, so I want to prepare the board for it.
I think the attachment A is really critical, because if you read these motions, motion A and motion B is really kind of difficult for a lot of people to understand. And if we can tell them to go to attachment A, and you can see what we're spending that money for, or what's gonna get cut, I think that's very critical. So I wanna be able to see that and absorb it.
So as for the language in motion B italicized. So motion A italicized is our base budget within finance committee
Yeah.
guidelines. And
Motion
that's,
A, base budget.
motion B is the 375.
Yeah.
And so we have some language that we used in this version. I haven't updated it. I have been working, I'm not gonna present it tonight. We'll present it ahead of Wednesday's meeting. Maybe tomorrow, you'll have it in the next version likely. I have some modifications based on 5 critical components of inclusion. The first section that talks about the main drivers, when I say main drivers of the budget, the biggest drivers, that's the health insurance pension. That's carved out in the language that existed. Below that, we then look at creating the additional fiscal year 27 budget. Includes funds related to personnel adjustments in the fire department and planning department. It also raises funds to cover a portion of the fiscal year snow and ice deficit. Those are the 5. And I just came from FinCom, and that was what was shared with me that the FinCom would like to see in the italicized section, those 5 components. I had kind of drafted.
And
for
that'll
myself.
show
At this
in
point-
attachment A. No.
In the language.
That would be in the italicized language on
Okay.
motion B.
Okay.
I know, it is very confusing, a lot
I
of
would put the
components.
snow and ice third, and the 2 positions 4th and 5th. Because the snow and ice is bigger than any individual one of those 2.
Fair point.
Sure. I mean, I
You got health insurance is the biggest, pensions the next,
the only thing is,
snow and ice is next.
right, from a dollar standpoint, but that is,
We're talking about dollars.
yeah, it's different because it's not necessarily going into the fiscal 27 operating budget, it's going in to cover the fiscal 26 deficit. And so that's kind of why it's a little like,
You've lost 90% of the people in the audience as soon as you have to explain it. I'm with Bob. The simple part, bigger number,
Yep.
higher up.
okay,
I respect you trying to make that financial distinction, but it is unnecessary.
do you know what I was trying to do?
I do.
You did. I didn't lose 90% of this room, I just lost I got you.
Yeah, see, the
Well,
bones
if he's
don't always
Peabody,
get
he
followed
counts as
by-
30% of the vote. So.
You're Peabody.
You're
I'm Lynn.
Peabody.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that's in essence what I wanted to discuss tonight. I will prepare language accordingly in the next version and send that out ahead of the meeting on Wednesday. And then Wednesday, the hope is that there's adequate or appropriate language for Article 3 and Attachment A that can be voted. If Attachment A is not ready, because that usually comes like a few days before we go to the print, a draft will be provided. You don't have to vote Attachment A. You Article 3 does need to be
We
voted.
have to agree though on the structure. The numbers can come later, but it's the structure.
Yes.
What does it look
Yeah, the
like that we
structure,
need to
yeah.
agree on?
You're right.
A couple things on Article 3. I know you're still doing it. One is if we mention the words base budget appropriation or attachment A, that is where we become legally bound to what is an attachment A. Let's not do that. Take attachment A out of the motion.
Motion.
So you have, I believe, I'll check with KPA.
We didn't before. Historically, we have not.
So we just had motion A,
Yeah,
base
and-
budget
Did
appropriation.
we have an attachment A back then though?
Yes,
And they didn't reference it in the motion?
not in the motion, no. This appears to be something that got inserted in the last
but if
three.
the number
It is broken out in the subcategory. It will show your, I mean, we can call it finance committee a lot. We can change the language on the base budget, but
Just don't reference
We didn't do that-
attachment
we
A
didn't do that
in the motion.
put in italicized only.
But yeah, oh, absolutely.
Is it in there?
Yeah, put it in the add yeah, okay.
So my recommendation, the last time we had a town-wide general operating override was 2010. 2011, there was one associated I
Long
think, with
time ago.
DPW trucks. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing that information.
Trucks.
Made it easy to find. 2010, other than the 14 different categories that they took money from, the language is very simple on the motion.
Okay,
see
let
that.
me think. I hear that.
Now,
let me
You
just
wanna
think
take
about it.
in attachment A
Time
out.
out. In Raphael, the attachment A, you're not necessarily citing all the individual line items, you're citing those two footnote numbers at the very
Right,
bottom right
that was
hand
what I was
corner.
saying.
Yeah.
So if you
So
reference
that doesn't
attachment A,
bind you to all those line items, it binds you to the footnote numbers.
All as stated in the column entitled base budget appropriation, which might become contingency appropriation in attachment A to the warrant. I would say that
Yeah, you're
that
right.
says you have to spend that on
Yeah,
that line.
you're right,
item.
when you say the column,
yeah.
if you said the row, then
Or just take that out.
But we can,
take it out.
So take that whole phrase out.
As long as you've got those explanations in the italics, then
I feel like KP a few years ago, we just split this motion up. I almost feel like that was a very particular component they wanted to be included, so you can reference something that they're actually voting versus assuming that, I think, let me double check with KP, because I feel like KP wanted to reference a specific budget, right? But I don't know what they did before I was here.
You are still, the dollar amount is still in the motion.
Right.
So you are still voting a budget.
And I guess Masco and Essex Tech don't have an attachment.
right, if you're gonna cite,
Let me check with
if
you.
you're gonna cite attachment A, I think you gotta say the row titled, you know,
Or the
row titled, you know, base
the
budget.
financial guideline allotted amount
Something like that.
referenced in attachment A.
But, you know, I wouldn't get too carried away with having KP tell you how to explain things to the voters.
The motion, this is the motion though, it's not the top, motion KP, I do feel needs to sign off on a change from what we've done the last few overrides and how we've referenced it, so.
But this is very different because the last few overrides have been a single line item. So if you voted for the base budget or the contingency, 95 out of 96 were exactly the same, and it was only that one line
The
item.
word base budget in motion A, whatever's in motion A, has to tie into the subcategory to Mr. Metz's point. If it's titled FinCom guideline allotted amount, whatever we call that line on the sub, if we want to attach reference motion A, whatever we call that out in motion A would be what we motion here.
What I'm saying is as long as it's,
Call it, budget allotment within 2.5%,
Which is how we can title it on
or
attachment A
2.25%,
versus
and
using the
then
FinCom.
budget allotment above 2.25%.
and what I'm saying is in the motion, to the extent that it is legal to do so, KP, like, let's spend 15 minutes, we have legal fee line item, right? Take out any reference to attachment A would be my preference. Because the light bulb went off and that is what makes attachment A legally binding. If it's not in the motion, it is not legally binding and gives us a lot more flexibility on how we handle any circumstances that may
Can't argue with
arise.
that.
It's hard to
I think it's somewhat academic, but I can't argue with it.
Let me work on
I
it
would
and get
agree to
you
take it out if
all
you
something
want.
to look at, and if I am gonna try to get in contact with KP anyway on a couple other things, and when I do, I'll just ask that question, and if there's something specific that they say should be in the motion, like they have to look at the motion, especially the big money ones, that they think should be
Okay,
modified.
here's
I'll
my
follow.
other request. KP can be fast sometimes, but sometimes not so fast. Wednesday night, I would like language in there, and if we have to revisit it because KP slapped us on the wrist after the fact, I'm willing to take that risk rather than not discussing it because we keep waiting for KP.
Yeah, and I'm to add on to that, if KP can't respond in time, it probably means they're spending too much time and they're gonna charge us too much for it.
We've done really well.
Make them
lately
come
on
to a
our-
decision.
We've done all right on our bills lately, so.
But what I'm saying is let's advance it, assuming it's legal to do so, and then have KP tell us after the fact if it's.
I think we're all saying the same thing. I'll
Yep.
take a shot at it.
Great.
I'll check with the right people, check with everyone here as well as I work through it. If needed, we'll keep it moving. So that's great. That's perfect for tonight. I wanted to just make sure that everyone was aligned. Sounds like everybody's okay with that, so that's great. To that end, the only other thing I want to mention is, so we have an override number of $375,000 that was based on our conversation the other night. Want to talk about the STM and on Wednesday, because in the STM, we're gonna ready to have two articles, one for an appropriation. Special town meeting at annual town meeting. We'll talk
Annual
about,
town meeting.
we'll go over our draft of that. I wanna make sure the finance team has a chance to put eyes on it. I created yesterday on Sunday,
You
and
said 2 articles?
The special is
it'll be
not
5
on
total, 2 new articles.
It is not.
It's reports, it's budget transfers, and it's bills from a prior year, and then there'll be 2 additional articles likely at minimum.
Two.
Yeah, and we'll talk about these more on Wednesday, but one of them I want to point out is going to be the snow and ice, because our Article 3 appropriation doesn't cover the entirety amount. There's still 30,000 we have to raise. We're looking at overlay to cover that balance. If any event that number of the total override changes in either direction from now to the finish for any reason, that's where we would flex that number likely, and that would affect this STM. All things we'll talk about Wednesday, but just want to make sure that I primed everybody that there is that article that's tied to what we just talked about, and another article we'll discuss on Wednesday as well. That's all.
Can I bring up something that we decided upon pretty concretely, but I've been worrying about it? And that is in Article 3, the 375, to raise the probability of passage. I think it would be good to get it like 299, under 300. And I've become aware that we have free cash available to use for that if we wanted to.
I would use overlay first, but
Let me try and do this properly. I believe we've had this discussion and voted on it. If you're making a motion to reopen the discussion, that's absolutely your right to do so.
Okay, I'm making a motion to reopen it.
do you want to wait till Wednesday? It's not on the agenda.
Do you need to make a motion you can have discussion. You don't need to make a motion to have discussion.
You only need to.
You can still have.
You want to have discussion about something we already voted on, though. So then I guess my point is why, unless we're going to actually.
Well,
You know
maybe
what, if they're gonna stuff it, let's just stuff it right away.
maybe the discussion will determine that there's no need for a motion because there's either universal or, no, I guess there would only be no need for a motion if there were no support. What I find interesting and why I laughed is because while he was talking, I looked across at Michelle, who was nodding yes as I was nodding no. So apparently there are differing opinions.
Well,
on
you know,
the other side of the table.
you could maybe make a point about the fact that 299 sounds better than 375.
I don't think we're buying a new car here. I don't think that people are gonna go, you know what, I'm not gonna support it at 375, but particularly when in past years we've had it at 1 point something with an M.
But that was for the schools, which have an automatic consistency.
And the schools went back year after year after year after year, and we haven't done it since when, Doug?
2011.
2011, which is how many years ago?
25?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
15? 15?
15, yeah.
I
So,
was never very good at math.
I think the fact that we're coming in at what is still a relatively small number for the first time in 15 years is not gonna pass or not pass the difference between 299 and 375. And with that, I yield my time back to the
I
chair.
did not say
right,
not pass,
thank
I
you.
said raise the probability.
Yeah, okay.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, we can talk about it.
We need to let FinCom know if that number is going to change sooner rather than later.
So
I am emphatic, and it's not changing.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone, leave it alone, leave it alone. Discuss.
Discuss.
Okay. Again, you're
All right.
free to reopen the discussion with a motion
299 versus 375.
on Wednesday.
Is a marketing.
You don't need a
program.
motion to discuss anything, you can just discuss.
I think at this
We want
point,
to
we're just
actually
trying to.
re-vote.
Taxation issue.
Then you re-vote, that's when you need the motion, when you
Not
actually
asking
re-vote, you
for
can discuss
taxes.
I'm
it.
getting the
So-
impression motions cause you.
so
A lot
that
of anxiety with
so
it,
that
yes.
concludes
With
the
everyone.
third item of new business for tonight. Thank you for the time tonight, Select Board.
Can I ask just a question on STMs? Towns that have 2 annual meetings, is that what they do? They do an annual in the spring and then a special in the fall?
Sometimes do.
Is that what they,
Sometimes do.
sometimes do that every
Regularly?
year. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
We've done it in the past, usually for larger capital requests.
Yeah.
My understanding, it's before my time.
But that is
Only
what they're
once or-
doing,
only
the
once or
special in the
twice.
fall.
I only remember
I
when
think
some
only
off the
Those towns
wall
that do 2 town
proposal comes
meetings.
up.
Yeah, so typically you have your annual town meeting, then they'll have a special town meeting, because a lot of times you can't wait a full year to get the branch of the government, which is our community, that needs to vote articles at any town meeting. So they'll have a special town meeting. Now, for example, when my understanding, and Mr. Jackson, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, when the water.
Are you asking me because I'm the oldest guy in the room?
I think you were
Are you?
participating at the
You're the
capacity that you have
designated
right now
historian.
at the time, but the water treatment facility, when that was passed, I believe was a special town meeting appropriation.
No, know what it was? It was fluoride. Some citizens got extremely concerned about fluoride and got signatures for a special
That
town
was a big
meeting.
deal.
And it was basic, and
To have a town meeting, a special town meeting,
Yeah,
not just
yeah,
the citizens.
yeah, at which time the opposition to fluoride was voted down.
Yeah.
So
Wasn't it studied
it wasn't
too, but
the manganese removal and all that stuff that happened at a regular town meeting.
We've only had a couple of them though in 20 years that I can recall.
What was the other one? Do you recall?
Oh,
No, wait a minute.
Can't recall it anymore.
We've only had a couple, but I don't know.
So at any rate, the town of Topsfield traditionally does not, but there could be a time when Masco for their capital might need it based on their timing with MSBA. There might be a time where we find our PFAS and timing around becoming compliant with regards to future regulations, and we need to make an appropriation. Those are usually things that can't wait versus an e-bike, which if we decide to take it up this year, great. If not, I think we'll be in an okay place.
We have a fallback position there, which I think is still in the civic interest, which is just publicize the activities which are not good for the town and are against state law. So we have a fallback
E-bike?
program on e-bikes.
Sorry, brought back up.
All right, so, anything else on item C?
Negative. We're good.
Okay, we're good. Let's move on to select board updates. Let's see, I'll randomly go with Mr. Metz first.
Well, I was at the source of much public information Friday and heard that Layla's had been closed. Then now I'm hearing it's because of water dams, ice dams that cause leakage. But I got a call from one of our alcohol control people and said that if a organization that's a licensee closes, they need to provide some written notice to the board that approved them, which is us.
Permanently closes?
Well, I don't think, it sounds like it's not necessarily permanent if it's just ice dam damage.
Well, I'll tell you, his open sign has not been lighted for several days, so he might be closed up.
That was a
is
request to
closed
shut
up.
that light off by somebody.
What I'm asking is, if a business closes, they need to inform us because of the alcohol license. is that a permanent closure, or if their closure is of a certain length of time?
I don't know that.
We can look further into that matter.
And I certainly don't want to put more bad news on somebody who's clearly having a tough time with it, other than to inform them perhaps of what they need to do.
We can hopefully provide grace if necessary, but we'll look into the formality.
And so meanwhile, I looked at this House Bill 4965, which is a bill where they dumped 4 or 5 senior assistance programs and an election day program, and the bill that we were hoping to do as a home rule petition is there in its entirety, but not corrected. So I still need to try and get an amendment stuffed on that. And our friend Ms. Cairns has not been terribly responsive lately. Maybe she's getting sick of me, I don't know. But there's also one in there that looks like they're trying to give communities the ability to expand the limitations for the 41C program. So between the two of them, 41C is one of the programs that exists now that's where the income limitations are so low that only 2 or 3 people get on there. So between the two of them, maybe we can get some progress by year end, calendar year end.
Thank you for your tenacity on that. Okay, anything else? You good?
I'm good.
Mr. Jackson?
I have none, thank you.
Mr. Hook?
I have nothing but a reminder that I'm sure will be deeply important to everyone in this room, especially Doug, because I know he looks forward to our time together. Do we have a meeting next Monday?
Yes.
After that, I'm done for a while.
No, we have a meeting the Monday after and the Wednesday after.
Yeah, no, but I won't be at those meetings. So,
Now, wait a minute, just because you have minor surgery, you don't mean done for a while.
Oh, that's right.
I think Doug came to the meetings with after his.
yeah, but not a week or two after.
He's gonna milk this for.
I think it's next week.
All right, well, Doug's more of a man than I am.
This for weeks.
And it will be a minimum of
And I
2
got plenty to
weeks,
cover up. I'm super.
because if I'm taking medical leave from my paid job, I don't feel like I can show up at the town meeting, so. But anyway, I'll miss you all.
For a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but this office is considerably closer than your Boston office.
This is
Maybe you
true.
could walk you here.
You know what, Doug, maybe you and I will talk later. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
because
you'll still see me. I know you're gonna miss me.
His recovery is gonna be quicker because he bought that settee. There you go.
That is all I have.
Okay, that's all you have?
Yeah.
You weren't anywhere Saturday morning that you wanted to?
I'm letting you take on all of that.
Well, let us
You know I will interrupt you as you're talking
You can do
about it.
TA.
let us assure you that we're gonna miss you desperately and wish you the best
You're gonna
recovery.
slide right over to this seat to get all room.
Oh, you want us to do it now? Okay.
I can wait if you want.
Yeah, we are going to pause, select board updates, we'll come back to them. I don't know, what's the proper term, not table, but, to move to the TA's report before he runs
I
upstairs.
apologize that I'm skipping anyone. I need to get up to the FinCom meeting. So 10 School Ave, we're making some great progress on that. We're working to try to, the Concom did not vote last week, but the third-party review is taking place. Once we have that, I talked with the conservation agent about possibly even doing a special meeting before the ZBA meeting. Don't think the timing's gonna work out, so if the ZBA is not comfortable voting it, because they won't vote a contingency approval for the special permit until Concom votes theirs, I'm gonna see if the ZBA will have a special so they don't have to wait an additional month. I don't want that project to be set back 6 weeks just because of the timing associated with some of the approvals, but we'll see how that lands. Alfalfa update, they're very close. They've asked for a certificate of occupancy on one of the buildings. The other one still needs some additional work. Or they're planning to request that inspection to take place. We're hoping it won't be more than weeks. It should not be months before that building can be open to the public and for enjoyment. They have the liquor license. They've got their stormwater permit. They're in really good shape moving
Oh,
forward.
they got the permit? Or they filed for it?
Which one?
Stormwater.
That was approved by the planning board about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, good.
HR purposes, we have meeting with someone around the rec department position, and hopefully in the matter of again, week or so, we'll be able to fill that position. People are starting to reach out regarding permits for field use. So it's important we get that position locked in. We also have 2 finalists for the communications position, which I will be interviewing them tomorrow. Still working through the fire, the call fire, and the DPW on their CBAs. We've had some very good preliminary conversations in the first handful of meetings with each. Appreciate the work that they're doing and the thoughtfulness they're putting in so far, and I know that we're doing the same. I am been invited to join as a speaker on a panel for the legislative dinner April 7th with the Newbury Chamber of Commerce. Last year I was invited to speak there as well for their annual. It was incredibly important that we. Of course you can. It's incredibly important. It's incredibly important that we share all the really good things. We have a very good story to tell. There's some really exciting things happening in this community. With our people in this community moving forward on a lot of fronts. Some I've already mentioned and others as well. And so again, we'll be out there to share those updates. We did confirm the $1.1 million earmark from the federal government was received and approved at the federal level for water main work in Topsfield. So we're super excited for that.
This has to be future work, right?
It does. So we have we're looking at a couple different roads. Don't want to say commit to it now because it's still in discussion that would be improving with that funding. We also applied last week for $1.75 million earmark for the design work for PFAS for the water treatment facility.
How about these water pressure upgrade areas? Can we use the?
We looked at that.
program
So I
for
talked with Superintendent Crom about the priorities. He gave me a list of 5 projects that I gave to him that he said those are probably my top 5, and I said list them. And then we talked about went back and forth on the value of each of those. But with this, if we're gonna find outside help for the PFAS, and that's coming, this is a great opportunity to start moving that because that has a hard deadline. The pressure zones do not. If we're that's partly why we ended up going that direction. And lastly, I would just say there's a great group of people working very hard on celebrations around 250th for the country. Here in Topsfield, we'll be looking to do activities like many other towns and cities, recognizing the birth of the country. I will say this, the clerk would be disappointed if I got into too much detail because not everything's been formalized, but we have a small group here at Town Hall that have been working on, we have some incredible historical documents in our possession, and we're looking at ways we can, for 250, bring those out and into the public eye so people can enjoy a piece of our history. There might even be some incorporated at our town meeting, our annual town meeting, as well as at certain times during the year for the remainder of this year. But more to come on that. Just really exciting, and I've had the privilege of putting eyes on some of those documents, and it's pretty.
Is that happening in July?
No, so town meeting's the town meeting would be in May. Further one.
No, the 250th celebration.
The bicentennial is what he means.
Of course, thank you. So there's a number of events that they're tagging specific 250 themes to. Memorial Day activities as an example, Strawberry Festival as an example, of reenactors and things like that they're looking at bringing in. Okay. The documents would be a standalone opportunity, not necessarily tied into an event besides town meeting if that's where we do it. But some of the documents that are hundreds of years old referenced documents from town meetings or Topsfield, so it's pretty neat. So we're super excited to celebrate our history. It's something that we can never let go, and we always have to recognize. And a lot of these documents haven't seen the light of day in quite some time, so bringing them out this is the right time to do it. So we're working through what that would look like, but just a thank you to that committee and the great work they're doing, and looking forward to seeing some interesting things this summer here in Topsfield. Thank you.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Anybody on that 250th committee talk to Bill Whiting and?
He's on the committee.
Huh?
He's on the committee.
Okay, because he's got multitudes of files in the gold barn.
I suspect that's where these old documents came from. Right?
And what he's got at his disposal is incredible. So I'm glad he's on the committee.
Yes, and I apologize, but I'm gonna
say hi to our friends upstairs.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are you and them on the same page?
I believe we have some great partners in the FinCom.
Enough said.
He's working on all the glib.
All right. So we will go back to select board updates. where member Marcia Link so kindly allowed us to interject.
So I just had one update that I wanted to give, and this is more to make sure everyone's aware that we have on April 2nd the ECDC Business Social. So I hope all of you can make it, although I bet Marcia's going to decline.
Date again was
April 2nd,
It's on my calendar.
7 p.m., second floor of Town
I
Hall.
don't know, maybe
my
Doug's
sister's
got it.
birthday,
We'll
if
see.
anybody needs to know.
Oh, he may be flying with one
Yeah,
wing, so he
Doug-
couldn't be there.
Doug's gonna come over and drag me out of my house, and walk me down there.
Somehow I've lost the floor again. Anyways, April 2nd, Business Social. Hope you all can attend. We have sent out a total of 118 invites, which is about probably 30 more than we sent out last. So each one we try to increase it each time. The critical item that I want to mention is that we will have alcohol upstairs. We will not be charging for it, and we do not need a liquor license for it.
Whoa,
Open bar.
this is a big deal.
We're going.
Here we go.
Can I have a Manhattan?
No, you cannot.
And that's legal?
That is legal. So Marble Ridge and Alfalfa Farm will be providing the alcohol. And we are not charging.
So a little beer and a little wine maybe.
Little beer and a little wine,
Okay,
not required to get a liquor license.
that's a big deal.
That is a big deal. Did I miss
In
anything?
town hall, that's a big deal.
Because there is no exchange of money, you do not need a one-day liquor license.
There we go. That's all you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I have for updates.
Responsibility is encouraged.
That's all you have for updates. Okay, let me.
We will. I'll add to that because you just mentioned it. We will have tip certified people serving the alcohol.
I'm sure.
Okay. Where is it gonna go? Saturday we had a listening session. We had the elementary school participated, Masco participated, a couple members of the public participated. Overall, good discussion, mostly focused on warrant budgets. Was there anything else we talked about?
Not really. It was wide ranging in those things.
Yeah.
A lot of talk about school funding. The Masco representative detailed some of the decisions that they made to get their budget where it was. And again, I referenced it earlier. I think they did an excellent job in that they were able to cut a substantial amount of money without really impacting the student experience. So that was impressively done.
Can I ask a question about that? I mean, they presented in their HVAC roof project summary 4 different scenarios. Replace existing, expand air conditioning, geothermal, total electric. Have they taken steps towards focusing in on one of those, or when would they be deciding which one do they want to pursue? Or
I think that's the job of the person that they're hiring, right?
The OPM.
well, they got to make the school committee has to make the decision.
I think
He
it
could
will
help
be the
illustrate it.
school committee on the building committees. There is a building committee now there.
Okay.
Recommendation or something like that, yeah.
Without doubt, they will approve it or disapprove it, but they're gonna take the advice of the project manager.
Yep.
Of the OPM.
They don't have to take the advice.
Well, no, but I
Stupid
mean,
not to, but
they're gonna respond to that.
but yes, they're studying it more.
Okay.
And that's the extent of my knowledge. Okay, budget open house is tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. here in Town Hall. For anybody who wants to learn more about the budget, why does everyone point all the way over there?
It's talking to the ghost, leave it alone.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah,
Budget open house
surprised it's not
5:30.
focusing on-
I will ask Kevin to make sure we get another blast on social media and.
So I went to those for a couple of years as a citizen, but we should know everything Kevin presents at that meeting, but it does give you a flavor of what people who are motivated to come listen are concerned about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's at what time again?
5:30 p.m. tomorrow on evacuation day.
St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, is it?
That's tomorrow.
I would normally be there, but I can't tomorrow.
That's no problem. It's not,
No.
that was more for them than you.
Understand. Yeah.
And let's see, yeah, that's all I can remember from my update. We already did the TA's report, so that brings us to correspondence. I'd point folks to correspondence. It's not just TV stuff, which Marshall loves, of course. There's actually some really cool stuff. So this is for the board members. The town of Lexington has invited us to be credentialed members at their Patriots Day celebration. But they do have an RSVP deadline. You do have to be credentialed. And once they're full, they will not add more people to the list. So it sounds kind of cool.
Are we gonna get some sort of invitation or something?
It's in correspondence.
That'd be
It's
cool.
in correspondence.
That'd be pretty
And
cool.
to be clear, that is not addressed specifically to us. So if anybody in town wanted to go, they could. And then there is a citizen in town sent us some information very pertinent to what you were just asking about geothermal energy. I'm assuming that that's related to the HVAC project. Otherwise, it's just good information to have. What?
Oxford resident.
Oh, Boxford resident, still a citizen of somewhere. And then the overlay from the assessors has been approved for $75,000. That's their overlay reserve account from the assessors. And also, like I said, a little bit of TV stuff in there and something
A
about
letter from the governor, I mean,
Chapter 90 funding.
yeah, that's a pretty big deal. $453,404.56 in Chapter 90 funding coming to the town of Topsfield, assuming the budget is.
Chapter 90.
This is how we get our
Yep.
our roads all.
This is how we take care of our roads. Yeah.
But that doesn't include the new accepted
No.
routes.
It
No,
does
it
not, and it also doesn't include the Chapter 90 supplemental, which will probably be an additional 50% on top of that.
All right. So lots of good news in correspondence today.
Did you notice this Lexington invitation said the reenactment of the Battle of Lexington will occur at 5:15 a.m.?
Oh, that's when it happened.
That's when it happened. That's what they're doing. You better be there.
Okay.
It's an early morning.
Listen, if you're gonna fight the British, you don't wait till midday.
Well, I personally am not going to fight them now.
All right. And with that, I will be polite and ask if there are any other motions.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, my God.
Any discussion on the motion?
He was right there.
I think we should
All
adjourn.
those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned 9:13 p.m.